At the U.S.-Russian summit in Moscow last July, a new arms control agreement seemed like a done deal, with both countries' presidents announcing significant cuts in their nuclear arsenals. We've agreed on the numbers of delivery systems as well as warheads. This is the framework which we hope will eventually become a new document, a new treaty.
This legally binding treaty will be completed this year.
Except now it's clear that the new treaty won't be finished before the START 1 agreement, nearly 20 years old, officially expires. On Friday, a joint statement was issued by the Kremlin and the White House, announcing that START 1 will be extended indefinitely until a new treaty is finalized. The fundamental differences persist between the two countries. Russians depend more heavily than the U.S. on nuclear forces for their national security, and are less eager to conclude any agreement which limits their nuclear capability and disregards the U.S.'s advantages in conventional weapons. Alexei Arbatov of the Carnegie Moscow Center says the new agreement will have to take into account changes in military strategy.
For instance, Americans, they want to deploy new, as I mentioned, ballistic missiles with conventional warheads. START 1 does not resolve this issue. How do we count these warheads? How do we count these missiles?
Counting rules are the main issue dragging the negotiations into overtime. Russia wants to count undeployed warheads because the American ones, unlike Russian warheads, can be quickly put into active service or reconstituted. And new deployment strategies for sub-launched missiles are another source of confusion.
On the missiles there are 8 warheads, Trident II missile. Americans would like to remove 4 warheads from some Trident missiles, 5 warheads from other Trident missiles, and keep either 4 or 3 left on each missile.
Under START 1, both sides reduced their strategic weapons. Thousands of missiles and warheads have been dismantled or destroyed. The question is, will the progress continue?
We've taken important steps forward to increase nuclear security and to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. As the world's 2 leading nuclear powers, the United States and Russia must lead by example.
And the example they set will determine whether other countries agree to limit their own nuclear programs. Failure to agree on a new treaty would not only damage the prestige of the U.S. and Russia, it would also be a serious setback to nuclear nonproliferation. Without the cooperation of all countries to limit the spread of nuclear technology, the chance of a bomb ending up in the hands of extremists is almost a certainty.
This threat, this eventuality, is not if, it's when and where. Because that will happen, for certain. The question is whether it happens in a year, in 5 years, in 8 years, and the question where the explosion, nuclear explosion, would happen. In Moscow, Washington, Paris, Rome, Mumbai.
Finalizing the new arms treaty would be the logical first step in preventing this worst-case scenario. Having missed the first deadline, the presidents of the U.S. and Russia are now under even greater pressure to overcome their differences. Dave Grout, CBS News, Moscow.